Hello everyone, I'm Ellen Gormley and welcome back to my channel. I admit I have a bad head cold today, so I'm so sorry if my voice is cracky and stuff, but we will get through it because this is such a fun project. So I've made some mistakes, but I've learned along the way, and I want to teach you about this Tunisian Intarsia style. So this is part of the Off to College series now that my boy Patrick is going to be off to college this fall. And I thought about a scarf for him, and I knew I wanted to do something Tunisian. I knew I wanted to do something that was manly, and usually for men, they would like low amounts of texture, low amounts of contrast. So I thought, oh, I'll do this two-stitch scarf. So it's Tunisian simple stitch and Tunisian purl stitch, just worked in rows back and forth. And as I was making this, it occurred to me, what would happen if I made the second section another color? So with my swatching, I learned that I could switch yarns and make these really cool diagonals. So this is just swatch yarn out of my stash, and so there are slightly different weights. And so I started, well, like, let's try that again. So for him, I know he's a pretty basic kind of guy. He probably would love this solid gray, either in solid gray or solid black without a color change. But I thought that what a great learning opportunity to teach how to do the Tunisian Intarsia. So here's my experiment, and it was coming along pretty well. Then I found I made a couple mistakes, so it's all right, But the point is that when you do two colors like this, you're gonna see mistakes, so you have to fix them. And you have to swatch because you have to know how you're gonna do it so that you can do it consistently the same all the time. So then I started really getting in the rhythm and making a really beautiful line here without any issues. So this is a little different, but then it got in a nice rhythm. So let me show you how to do it, and you can do it for yourself, for someone in your life. Okay, so I have out two colors, and I'm hearkening back to my old TV days, friends, and I have some swatches going, some step outs going. I started this pattern, and I'm going to redo this whole thing for Patrick eventually, but I started the pattern with some basic stitches. So one row of Tunisian simple stitch, one row of Tunisian purl stitch, one row of Tunisian simple, one row of Tunisian purl. This helps keep it from curling too much at the bottom, kind of helps balance it out, and then we'll get into the pattern. So I have already done Tunisian simple, Tunisian purl, Tunisian simple, Tunisian purl. Now I am binding off the Tunisian purl, and I will start with the Tunisian simple, and I will change color on this next row of Tunisian simples. So this alternating Tunisian purl and Tunisian simple, which by the way, if you need some very beginner basic videos for my Tunisian purl and simple stitches, you can check them out in my Tunisian playlists on my channel, on this YouTube channel. Okay, so now that we have our basic foundation rows set up to help it not curl, we will then begin our color change. So I've got pink is what I'm going to do for the other color. Just for dramatic sake, I thought I would go all color today because, you know, crochet is a relaxing and valuable use of our time, so might as well have fun with it. We're going to Tunisian simple all the way across. Now the pattern I have for the actual scarf is 25 stitches. And this little step out, I believe, is only 15 because I just wanted to get through it faster so that you could see these techniques even faster. So I'm just Tunisian simple stitching all the way over to the final stitch. And I will show you how to add the next color in. And I say this is Intarsia because I'm going to be dropping colors and not working over it, but just picking it up. So I'm grabbing my next color. I have one loop to go, one loop to pull up. It's this ending stitch here. I'm going to loop the second color. Now, the second color, the gray in this section, in this example, are purl stitches, Tunisian purls. And the black section is all Tunisian simples. See it? So the second color is Tunisian purls. So I need to purl stitch. So I'm even going to purl the final stitch. So I'm going to pull the pink into the front, insert the hook into the two bars there, wrap my yarn around, and purl that final stitch. Oftentimes with purl stitches, in Tunisian, they tell you to just go ahead and do the simple stitch for the final stitch. In this scarf, I'm actually doing a purl on that edge anyway. It's also important that when you grab yarns out of your stash, you get the same exact weight of yarn, even the same brand, because both of these are worsted weight yarns, but the black is thinner than the gray, and so it kind of made it a little unbalanced. So if you're going to use two colors, make sure you use yarns from the exact same brand. Okay, now we're yarning over and pulling through just the pink, and we are going to drop it, pick up the yellow, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook all the way across. So we are binding off in that first color only for the first loop, and then we will continue all the way across, binding off in the traditional pattern until you have only 1 loop left on the hook. Okay, so now we have the first row done. So I'll write down as much of the pattern as I need to, but basically you're going to Tunisian simple stitch all the stitches until one before the color, because you're going to switch stitches one ahead every row to make that diagonal. So if you're doing all one color, like the gray example that I'll probably end up finishing for Patrick, then you don't need to change color. You would just, at this point, change stitches. But here, what I'm going to do now is one step before, like I've got 2 stitches left. I've got this stitch here, this vertical yellow bar, and I have this pink stitch here. So I have 2 stitches left. So I had only 1 pink stitch, and now I need 2 pink stitches in this next row. So each row we're going to add 1 pink stitch and decrease by 1 yellow stitch. But we're keeping the same stitch count, the same balance. So because the pink is over here, I'm going to need to pull it across so that it'll be in front of that stitch, because I need to pick it up, and I've dropped the yellow. Wrap it around, pull up a loop, okay? So I've dropped the yellow, I'm not doing anything with it. Now I'm going to purl, again, the final stitch. Just get it in there, purl that final stitch, make sure you don't split the yarn. I would caution you from tensioning up too tightly, because it'll pucker. So don't tighten your gauge too tightly. Just be real gentle with your tugs, okay? So now I have 2 pink stitches on my hook, and on the next row, you can imagine I'll have 3 pink stitches, and on the next row, I'd have 4 pink stitches, and so on, because we're making the diagonal go up across. So let's do a couple more rows of this, and then I'll show you the next stage. So yarn over and pull through 1 loop on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, then we are dropping the pink, picking up the yellow, and I'm not twisting these yarns at all over here. I'm just pulling it straight up. And that is part of the magic of staying consistent. Pull it straight up. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook all the way across. So the part of the magic of being consistent is not twisting the yarns when you're switching yarns, not twisting them. Okay, so as I said before, now we're going to Tunisian simple stitch across, but we're going to stop 1 stitch shorter still and change color 1 stitch earlier, because we're making the diagonal. And then I'll show you how we go back. I hope you guys are having a fun and relaxing and valuable day with crochet. Let's see. Okay, so I have all my Tunisian simples. I'm stopping 1 stitch short. I had 2 pink stitches on the last row. I want 1, 2, 3 pink stitches on the next row. So I'm going to drop the yellow, pick the pink straight up, but I have to pull the pink to the front so that I can Tunisian crochet it, wrapping that stitch to the front of the hook, pulling up a loop, Tunisian purl stitch in each of the final 2 stitches. And here's how this last loop looks. Okay, so now we have 3 on the hook. So we will yarn over and pull through with the same color as the loop. Okay, when we are done there, we will drop the pink, pick the yellow straight up, yarn over, pull through 2, and I'm kind of holding it, anchoring it there with my other finger so that the tension doesn't get messed up as I pulled through that pink stitch. Okay, are you seeing the pattern here? So the first color, the main color, is all Tunisian simple stitches. The second color, which is the contrast color, is all Tunisian purls. You absolutely could do all Tunisian simple for both sections, but it's gonna curl more, okay? But if you work one section purls and one section Tunisian simple, you'll be much better to go. So that's how it progresses. Let me show you the next step out. Ooh, like the wonders of television. Okay, so the next step out, I have come, so the purple was my first color, and so I did my foundation rows, so to help it not curl. Tunisian simple for this side, my dominant side, Tunisian purl for the other side, and then as I am pulling through all of the stitches, and I have increased enough of my second color to where I only have this left. I want to just keep one purple on here instead of like finishing off and having no purple. I have one purple stitch left. So right here is where I will make sure that my yarns are not tangled up. First of all, this is a great time when you're at the end of the row, at the end of the color sequencing section, to make sure your yarns are not too tangled up. Then we're going to pull the yarn straight up, so not twisting it, but just pulling it straight up. And I'm going to yarn over and pull through with the purple for that purple loop. Okay, make sure you don't accidentally decrease the total number of stitches. So this is also a good time to double check that you have the correct number of stitches and have not, in fact, decreased. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ooh, there's something missing right there. 14, 15. I'm glad my intuition was saying something. Now to pull back, I need to pull back that purple loop first. It appears that there is a dropped stitch right here that did not get picked up on the previous row. So I'm going to pull that row all the way back. Not a big deal. Okay, so we have now to finish this row. So finishing in pattern, remember we are Tunisian simple stitching, and I'm stopping short so that I can add a green, in this case, on the next stitch. So I'm pulling straight up the green. I will now pull it across so that I can do a Tunisian purl stitch in that last vertical bar, because I think I had accidentally skipped this one. And then Tunisian purl in each of the vertical bars across. So that color, when you're getting to the edge where there's just one of one color, and then the rest is the other color, it's a great time to make sure your yarn is not tangled and make sure you have the right number of stitches. Okay, lessons learned for all of us. And be consistent in how you change color so that it's not twisty, because when you have contrasting colors like this, it becomes more obvious when you make a mistake. And it's not even really a mistake, but if you're just not consistent, it'll show up. So we want to be consistent. Okay, so now we're going to try this again. Yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over and pull through 2 all the way across. And it is an Intarsia technique, which Intarsia is a color work technique where you let the yarn just drop and you've got blocks of color. So you can check out my color work video. I'll put a card at the end of the video. And now when I get to the purple here, I'm just going to drop the green, pull up the purple straight up, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook. Now I want to have just one purple here, so I'm going to start right away with this next stitch here in green. So pulling up the green, and I'm going to Tunisian purl in that second purple stitch, because the first one is actually the one that's on my hook already. So now we have 2 stitches already made. We'll go ahead and Tunisian purl all the way across, and then I'll show you how to start decreasing the Tunisian purl side, which is green in this example. I hope you are having fun with the videos that I've been putting out lately. I hope you really loved the Herrschner's calendar mandala video. That was a lot of fun. There's actually 3 parts to that video to help you with that very experienced, but I think kind of cool pattern. Also, when Mara went off to college 2 years ago, I made several, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 videos for her and her off to college series. So if you want to take a look at those older off to college patterns, there's the spruce beanie in there and other things in the off to college blanket. Okay, so we are loaded up our hook. So there's plenty of patterns for you to check out if you haven't had a chance, or review them if you maybe forgot about them. As we start rolling into the second half of 2021, you might want to start getting your hooks moving for holiday gifts if you are the kind of person who does that. Me, I'm going to be focused on my off to college series. Okay, so now I'm going to drop the green, pull straight up with the purple yarn over, and pull through both. Now there is truly just 1 stitch of purple and all the rest are green. But now that there's 1 stitch here, I want 2 stitches. So that means this one's going to be purple and this one's going to be purple before I switch to green. So Tunisian simple stitch always with the first color, in this case, which is purple. Then I will drop the purple, pick up the green, and it's easier to purl going this direction because you don't have to like pull the yarn over from a space nearby. It's just right in the right spot when you're working in this direction. And now we will just purl all the way across. So this pattern really is a lot of fun, and you really could do it any way you like, but I think this graduated diagonals are a lot of fun, and it's dynamic and it adds some interest, and it's probably just enough pizzazz that most men would be willing to wear the scarf in 2 colors, but also if you wanted to do it just in 1 color, that would probably be very flattering also. Of course, in the 2 colors, it's also a gorgeous scarf anyway. So whoever might like this scarf, I think there's a lot of different options, and I hope you have enjoyed this pattern, and I will see you on the next video. Take a look at the off to college videos and the color work videos if you need more to look at. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.